Lava Flow Challenge, Section 1, Introduction to the Lava Flow Challenge. This section is an introductory section that should take approximately 25 minutes. These are examples of the student pages or student text that your students will be using as they complete this section of the Lava Flow Challenge. It is a short 2-page section that will involve some reading and some text and some vocabulary as the students progress through this section. A quick overview of this section. As I mentioned before, this section provides students with an introduction to the Lava Flow Challenge. Students will learn that they'll be working as a team to help a company determine the best way to measure the flow of lava over land in order to help towns near volcanoes develop evacuation plans. While working through this section, they will learn about the importance of their work and the application to real-life situations. During a volcanic eruption, lava may flow at different speeds. Towns that are located near a volcano need to know at what point they need to evacuate and how they need to evacuate depending on the speed of the lava flow or how quickly the lava flow might reach their town. By creating a model of the situation, they will be able to provide the company that is consulting the town with important information on how to craft and create the town's evacuation plan. Students will learn that in order to complete this challenge, that they will need to create a model. Through class discussion, students will understand how models can stand in for actual events, processes, and situations. In addition to the challenge information, background information defining volcanoes, magma, and lava will be provided in the text for the students. The Lava Flow Challenge is a short introductory section, as I mentioned. It is simply one part. During this section, the main focus is for students to really understand the challenge presented to them through discussing the written introduction. Through this section, you should guide students in their reading of the challenge understanding and also introduce the idea of using models to understand real-life situations and scientific phenomena. One of the main focuses of this section is modeling. Students should understand that models show the important aspects of a scientific phenomena and can be used to generate predictions, explanations, and solutions. In this case, students will be using a model of a lava flow using a paper plate and soap in order to generate specific predictions on the rate of lava flow. It is also important for students to understand that certain models are limited in what they can represent about the real-life situations. In order to facilitate your discussion on modeling, one question you can start off the conversation with is, why are we using a model to measure the rate of lava flow? Students might reply that it would be too dangerous for them to go out into the field in an area where there's volcanic activity and measure lava. This would be an example of why scientists use models instead of always doing their experiments out in the field. You then might also go into the idea of what limits might your model have. Because soap and lava might not have the same consistency, you might not be able to provide as accurate a prediction as you would have liked. The plate doesn't necessarily have the same topography as the land around a volcano. So these are ideas that a model is not necessarily perfect. It does have limits, but at times it is needed because going out into the field would not be possible. This would lead into your final class discussion and question before moving on to Section 2. What are some other models that scientists use to investigate real-life situations? Here are some examples to help fuel the discussion. Looking at scale models, especially with building and bridges, looking at large scales, structure of the Earth, solar system, climate models to make predictions, traffic situations and accident replication, DNA, atoms, cells, using larger models to look at very small items, using lab mice for different medical treatments, to study maybe the effects of cancer, to model how those treatments might work with human cancer victims. And again, really use these ideas to help facilitate the discussion, but please make sure your students are also expressing their own ideas. For planning, this section will cover specific GPS and NGSS standards, looking at key terms, lava, volcanoes, and model, and the essential question of how do scientists solve problems. At this point, simple assessment might just be classroom participation during classroom discussion on understanding the problem and challenge, and also modeling. Preparation for this section is pretty simple. There's no additional materials or student pages other than the student text. You should, though, review the student text and make sure that you have an ample supply of samples of models that have been used in science to help facilitate the discussion on modeling.